Hey YouTube, this will be part 4 of my beginner's guide to Fire Emblem Heroes, covering the Arena, Arena Assault, and how the game calculates damage. First, we'll talk about the Arena scoring system. You'll receive rewards for your consecutive wins, rank, and defense. The rank rewards will depend on the tier that you are in at the end of an Arena season. Defense rewards are given out for successful defense wins, and by winning 5 consecutive matches in Arena, you can receive 3,000 feathers, 100 Arena medals, 10 sacred coins, 1 orb, and 10 refining stones in that order for each consecutive win. Tier 20 is currently the highest tier in the game and primarily is dominated by whales or long-time dedicated players. So for a new player just getting into the game, I recommend that you aim for tier 18 or 19.5. This is the limbo that exists between tier 20 and tier 19. So how does the scoring work, since that will affect the maximum amount of points that you can receive each week for the Arena? Scores are based on 5 things: unit rarity, unit level, a unit's BST total, or known as the BST bin, the SP cost of equipped skills, as well as the bonus hero. Each week, the Arena will have 10 designated bonus heroes that will double your offensive score. These will typically include the newest batch of units, a Ground Hero Battle unit, an Asken Trio, or Fjorm, and some older units. I should also mention that during the consecutive matches, you get a selection of 3 difficulties from Beginner, Intermediate, and Advanced, where Advanced matches give you more points. During each match, you will also take a 10% scoring penalty for each fallen ally. This means that to maximize your Arena score, you need to build a team of high BST units with expensive skills and have a bonus hero. During a run, you should always go for the advanced option and keep casualties to a minimum to maximize your points. Since the bonus hero usually changes on a fortnightly basis to accommodate new units, a lot of players will build what's known as an Arena core, or focus on 3 specific units to handle the Arena. Usually, these 3 will cover the entire weapon triangle and are generally easily merged units, although some players do use 5-star exclusive units as their Arena core. This leaves the last slot to be taken by the bonus hero for that weekly rotation. Arena Assault is very similar to the Arena, and the scoring for each round is determined the same way, but is dependent on your first team. Blessings will contribute 1 extra score to your total per unit, and this mode allows you to use some items and preview the map each round after the first one. This is probably among the hardest content in the game in terms of getting the max rewards, as to reach the top, you need a really high scoring team and then 6 more teams. To maximize a defense score, you need to use a bonus hero, but the exact method for getting a defense score is unknown, or at least as far as I know it is. Although I think the higher the BST your defense team is, the higher the defense score that you can get. To get defense wins, players will often employ cheeky tactics such as making use of Wings of Mercy, dancers, ranged units, as well as of course the Reinhardt. Try to avoid using solely enemy phase units, as those builds are easily baited by having those units attack on their player phase, leaving them extremely vulnerable. Speaking of Arena core units, which ones should we use? For a new player, my recommendation will be mostly units that are available at both 3 and 4-star rarity, but I'll include some really good 4-star units. These units will be easier to obtain and merge to +10, which is vital for scoring in the Arena. These are suggestions, but you can of course pick any unit that you like. For reds, I recommend one of the following options: Hana, Soleil, Ares, Marth, Doga, and Adult Tiki. For blues, I recommend Cordelia, Donald, Noe, Effie, Gwendolyn, and Oscar, although Shigure is also really good. For greens, I recommend Raven, Sheena, Bast, although you'll probably use them for reposition, Faye, and Shershi. I don't really recommend colorless units, as they are generally ranged units with less BST, although at +10, a lot of characters can definitely score well. Now that you've set yourself up to get a high Arena score, the next step would be actually getting that high score. There are 2 things you need to keep in mind when playing the Arena: the AI behavior and how damage is calculated in the game. We'll consider the AI first. There are 2 sets of instructions for the AI in this game: when an enemy is within range and when an enemy is out of range. Starting with the enemy being out of range, as you can see on the screen, this is the basic movement order. There's also a few other things that the AI will take note of when they move. The enemy will prioritize allies that can do the most damage, and will try and take the shortest path to that enemy. If a unit has dance or sing, then that will take priority over their action, regardless of what it was. This brings us to other support skills. A unit will rally other units in the danger zone or move them out of the danger zone with a positional skill. They will also use positional skills to move closer to the enemy if they can, and healers will heal a unit whenever they can. If a unit is able to use their assist skill, then they will use it, even if it isn't the best option available to them. Units will also prioritize moving onto a defense tile if they can, and if the AI can break a wall or a block, then they will prioritize this action. I believe the unit that can deal the most damage to their target will move first, but I'm currently unsure whether or not this is true. If an enemy is in range of a unit, the enemy AI will prioritize going for a kill, considering such things like buffs, skills, damage specials, and other units that can help chip away at an ally. For example, if enemy A and B can kill ally A, then they will both target ally A for the kill. But then, who moves first? The next priority would be whichever enemy deals the most damage. So if enemy A did more damage, then that unit will move first. If no kill can be made, then the unit who deals more damage will still move first. If two units deal the same amount of damage, then the unit that takes the least battle damage will move first, taking into account any nearby defensive tiles. A dancer or singer will prioritize dealing damage over singing and dancing, except in situations when they take less than 5 battle damage. If an enemy previously moved and is in range of an ally, then the dancer will prioritize dancing that unit. Next up will be the damage calculation. The damage calculation simply boils down to attack minus defense or res, based on the physical or magical unit attacking. The attack stat takes into account stat and spur buffs that a unit gets, and for simplicity's sake, I will assume that a physical unit is attacking. The next thing we can add to our formula is the weapon triangle advantage buff, which gives a plus minus 20% to attack, depending on whether or not you are at an advantage or disadvantage. Triangle at depth 3 and the gem weapons also add 20% but do not stack with each other, so the maximum bonus will be from either of those plus the weapon triangle for a total of 40%. To add this to our formula, you simply multiply the attack stat by 1.2 for weapon triangle advantage, or 1.4 if you have weapon triangle advantage or a gem weapon or triangle at depth 3. If you're at an disadvantage against a foe, then this number will be either 0.8 or 0.6 if they have advantage and a gem weapon or triangle at depth 3. Next up is the effective damage bonus that comes from effective weapons. These will deal bonus damage against certain enemies and give a 50% bonus to your attack stat. This is applied before weapon triangle advantage. Note that for healers, they have a special modifier that halves their damage unless they are using the Wrathful Staff skill, so the damage at the end will be halved for healers. Next are the damage specials. A stat-based special will take whatever percentage of a stat that they list and add it to your attack stat. For example, we'll use Iceberg for a 30 res unit. This means that upon activation, the unit will receive plus 15 to their attack, and this is added to the attack stat after modifiers such as triangle advantage or the effective bonus. For flat bonuses to specials such as the 10 damage boost from Woidao or Wrath, this bonus is always added after the defense subtraction, so when Woidao triggers a special, 10 damage will always be dealt. For skills such as Glimmer or Astra, these add a multiplier to the total damage done, and this multiplier goes into effect after the defense calculation is done. The defense stat can be changed in one of two ways, either by a defense tile boost or an offensive special such as Luna. Defensive tiles provide a 30% boost to the defense stat, so you need to add 0.3. For specials such as Moonbow or Luna, you need to subtract. We can combine these into one formula at the bottom, as long as you remember that you add for the defense tile and subtract for specials like Luna. These effects can both be active at the same time, and in that case, the change in defense is additive. For example, if you're on a defense tile and the enemy activates Luna, the defense change will be plus 0.3 minus 0.5, which becomes a 0.8 defense multiplier. Lastly are the defensive specials such as Pavis. These apply to the damage dealt, so the reduction occurs after everything else. The flat mitigation will be from Shield Pulse, which is currently the only flat damage mitigation that exists in the game, or at least that I know of. Do note that Luna and Pavis do not cancel each other out. Pavis halves the damage taken after Luna is applied. If we add everything together, we can get the full damage formula in the game. This looks pretty intimidating, but if you understand how to apply the game's damage bonus or mitigation, this shouldn't be so bad. In the end, it all boils down to attack minus defense if you think about it. I figured an example would help, so here's a clip of me doing an arena match taking into account the AI and the damage calculation. Okay, so let's head into arena and find a match so we can see how we can use AI manipulation and the damage calculation formula. So first thing you want to do is check all your units, check all the enemy units and their skills. Fury Shurina with Renewal. We have pretty high attack Lilina, definitely don't want to take that. We have a distant counter Mer, and we have a Fear. So she has chill defense and attack boy. Next, you want to match up the units based on how much damage the enemy can deal. So this Lilina deals a lot of damage. She'll deal the most damage to Raven, so she'll likely be chasing after this Raven. The Shurina will be able to deal the most amount of damage to, let's see, 51 minus 24 is about 27 damage to Ninian.
What can I do?
For Seliph, her attack goes up to about 61.
Understood.
61 minus 39 is about 22. Let's see, 22 versus 27. She'll chase after Ninian because she deals more damage to Ninian.
Of course.
So let's just move our units
This way?
into position.
Let's go.
Alright,
Yes?
we'll have Ninian bait this Lilina because she has Triangle Adept. So with 70 attack and Triangle Adept active, 7 times 4 is 28, so she'll take a 28 damage penalty. So that brings her down to about 42, I believe. 42 minus 34 is about 8 damage. As for this Mer,
What can I do?
myself should be able to tank 1 hit. And nobody has Wings of Mercy, I believe.
Yes.
Let's see how this pans out. Okay, damage. Ninian should be able to take out this Lilina,
Yes.
like so. From here, I have a few decisions. I can take out this Mer, and then
Let's go.
maybe kill this Fur off with Self.
Understood.
But let's say I'm not sure about how much damage this Self will do. This is where the damage calculation comes in handy. So Fur has 28 defense. She's also on a defense tile. Defense tiles add 30% bonus to the defense stat. So this Fur will have about a bonus of, I'll be safe and say 8, so 36 defense. Seliph will deal, Seliph is in Brazen range, so he has 68 attack. 68 minus 35 is about 33 damage. With Bonfire,
What can I do?
he takes half of the defense stat, which is 37. Half of 37 is about 18.5. The game rounds decimal numbers down to the nearest whole number, so that will be 18. So he adds 18 damage. I'm not exactly sure if Selph's in Wrath range, but the 18 damage will be more than enough to take out this Fur on the defense tile.
This way?
So let's use Mer to take out the enemy Mer. And
Let's
Seliph,
go.
well, what do you know? He deals enough.
Ready.
Okay, all that's left is Shurina. And our unit that can handle Shurina will be Mer or Raven.
Let's go.
Raven takes her out on player phase, so I'll use Raven. So that's a general idea of the arena. You want to use, basically, you want to check the enemy skills. You want to bait an easy target, or a target that won't deal as much damage to you. And then you want to slowly pick off the enemy units. So AI manipulation is one way in which you can separate the enemy units to set up easy kill situations. And basically doing damage calcs will help you guarantee what situations that you win and which situations that you lose. I hope you enjoyed this guide.